Hey everyone, it's Maria. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'll be talking about a TV show idea that I kinda have. I got the idea from a Tumblr post, and I was curious on how it would turn out. Here's a picture of the Tumblr post. It has Atem, Mana, and Mahad together during the episode The Intruder Part 2, when Atem saves Mahad from a snake bite. The Tumblr post said that it would be great to have a spin-off show about those three, and I agree. Now, let's see why. I think a prequel to Duel Monsters is a fun idea. We get to see Atem before he became the Pharaoh, and I'm curious on how he was as a kid. In flashbacks of him as a child in the episode In Search for a King, he seems like a scared boy, mostly because in the flashbacks we see him cry most of the time. During the episode, Atem has flashbacks in which all he's crying. Babies do cry, which is understandable, and he did fall when he was a toddler, so of course he would cry. Although, when he's with his father, he was like, maybe 10. He's crying like a scared boy, like in the beginning when he said he didn't like this place. He seemed different than the Pharaoh we knew and loved. So, I'm curious on how he grew up to be the Pharaoh he was. That, and it would give us a break from Duel Monsters dueling. But then again, we might get the version they played in ancient Egypt. But anyways, let's get started. Well, obviously the story will be mostly on Atem, so we can see on how he became the fearless pharaoh we all know. And of course he will be followed by Mahad and Mana, because they were basically his best friends. Mana says in The Intruder Part 2 that they've been practicing magic for years with each other, which I thought was interesting because we barely saw Atem use magic. He only used magic during his mind crushing, but that's about all. The rest was from his Millennium Puzzle, which doesn't count, so I think it will be interesting to see Atem using magic, and have some episodes of him practicing with Mana and maybe messing up with her. And he must have been very good with magic. I mean, he used magic to seal Zork away, except we never got to see that. Atem must have been a very powerful magician, not like Mahad and maybe Mana, although maybe he was more powerful than them. They did say he was a powerful pharaoh, so maybe when he was defeating Zork, he unlocked his full potential of magic. He was a prince, so maybe he had time to practice magic and do his prince duties. Anyways, I think what the story should be about is the adventures of Atem and his friends. It would be cute and entertaining. Like in the manga, Mana said that he used to hide in the vases when they were children, and his dad would get mad at him. So knowing more about Atem would be great, since every time we saw him he only dueled. Yes, his personality seemed wise, calm, and confident, but it wasn't enough info. Since he lost his memories, we couldn't really get to know Atem that well. A prequel would give us a chance to know him better, and what I would love to see for a series finale is to see Atem sacrifice himself and get sealed inside the Millennium Puzzle with Zork. It would be amazing to see what actually happened, because the whole role-playing thing with Bakura wasn't really accurate. So I would love to see what actually happened and what went down and how everything came to be. Like the Ishtar family and how the Millennium Pendant became the Millennium Puzzle. What would also be cool is that it ends with Yugi solving the Millennium Puzzle and starting Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. For characters, of course I would have Atem as the main character. We can also see what he did as Prince of Egypt, which would be informal because I'm not really sure what princes did in Egypt. He probably had prince classes maybe. For other characters, it would be Atem's dad. It would be interesting on what relationship he had with him. Sure, in the anime he did care about him, but I want them to elaborate on that and see more of them together, like in Bambi 2 with Bambi and his father. And during the scene which I mentioned in Search for a King, I said that Atem and his father went into a cave so his father can apologize and spare his son. I think they should redo or extend the scene, because Atem's father had the Millennium Pendant, and it would be cool to see Atem's father give it to him when they leave the cave. In The Intruder Part 2, he has it on, and he looks the same age, and Atem's father asks Mahad to look after him because he worries and he cares about his son. Speaking of parents, I also want to know what happened to Atem's mother. We only see her once in the manga, just in one panel, and I'm curious on what happened to her and her relationship with Atem, though maybe she just didn't stick around that long. For other characters, I would love to see Atem's relationship with Mana and Mahad. They were best friends after all. Mahad was more mature than Mana and Atem. He is the one keeping Atem safe, because he was kind of like a bodyguard, and maybe gives him advice, but I'm sure he did let loose sometimes. Mana, however, is the one that keeps Atem happy. She's the always happy and jumpy one, and I'm sure she loves to play games with Atem. She's the one that makes Atem have fun and have Atem be silly, which is a nice thought to have, because in Duel Monsters he's always serious. It would be a good change to see Atem have fun pulling pranks and getting into trouble, and to see him act differently with Mana. I'm a Vey shipping fan. Atem and Mana seem like the perfect match in my opinion. I would love to see them together and maybe have hints on liking each other in the show. Maybe a Valentine's Day episode that involves a love potion. Because when I first saw Mana, I was like, yep, I see a couple right there. It would be fun to have them both together being kids. I really don't know if Atem knew Seto when they were kids. Probably it would be weird yet cool to see pre-Seto being friends with Atem, because Kaiba wasn't that really much of a friend to him in Duel Monsters. For sure Seto acts more differently than the Kaiba we all know, but I'm not sure if they knew each other, mostly because Seto lived in a village that was later burned. But maybe he moved where the palace was, so that solves that. Maybe Seto has known Atem since they were young. That, and his father was a part of the pharaoh's court, even though he didn't know that. For the other priests, we didn't really get to know them that well in the show. Although, maybe they were friends with Atem, but not as close as Mahad and Mana. So yeah, there aren't that many characters, so maybe they should add new ones into the show. I think a TV show prequel for Duel Monsters would be awesome. It would give us more information about Atem's life before he was sealed inside the Millennium Puzzle. We would also see more of the ancient form of Duel Monsters and see how it began. We would also see more of Atem's character development and see how he was in ancient Egypt before he lost his memories. We would also get to know what kind of magic he did and knew how to do and how powerful he was. We would also see his relationships with his friends and family, as well as get to see Atem in a brand new light. So that's it for this video. Please like, subscribe, it helps my channel out. And here's a question for you guys. What Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show would you like to see? Comment down below and let me know. Bye guys. I really need to pitch this idea to Kazuki Takahashi.